Hi there, it's Craig here. Today we're going to do what's called a partial extract beer kit. All right, now normally what I've been doing over the years is very simply taking a can of malt extract, pre-hopped, and adding some dextrose to it. Very easy, simple. You can make very decent beer this way, and it's effective. You can get some good results with it. You can also play with it a little bit and come up with some even better results. Today, I'm actually going to be brewing with a slightly more advanced method. I received a donation a little while back from somebody who calls himself J.O. Malone on YouTube, J.O. Malone 3113. I want to thank him once again for donating this beer kit to me and essentially to all of you guys, because now we all get to share in the making of this beer. Now, if you want to step up a little bit and get a little more into the hobby, then you can use these cans of malt extract and add things to them, okay? Or you can get yourself a kit. So we've got the bag of specialty grains. I can't get over the smell. Amazing. We also have a bag. This is a mesh grain bag. We're going to put the grains in here and we're going to steep them in some warm water, and we'll see that in a minute. It's just like making tea, really. Okay. We've also got some malt extract. Okay, this is basically the same stuff that comes in these cans, but it's not pre-hopped. It's just malt extract, no hops added. You don't want the hops added to this because you get your hops separately and you get to add them at the appropriate times. These are, well, they're not fresh hops, they're dried hops, pellets, but derived from fresh hop flowers, obviously. So hops are a herb. They add flavor and bitterness to the beer, aroma, and depending on when you add them and how you utilize them and which type you use, you're going to get different flavors. These are Willamette hops, and there's 1.5 grams ounces, I believe, and the recipe calls to add these at the beginning of the boil. Okay, you're going to see all this in a minute. I don't want you guys to think this is complicated. This is not complicated. The kits come with instructions. Very detailed instructions, I might add. I have them on hand just in case I need to refer to them. Okay. You also get your yeast. This happens to be Nottingham dry yeast. We're going to rehydrate this. Okay, you're going to see that. And we've got a little Irish moss tablet that's going to help us clear the beer. Throw that in sometime during the boil. And that's going to help the beer clear. It's going to attach itself to the proteins, and without getting into a chemistry lesson, it's going to help your beer get nice and clear. And we've got some sugar here. This is a little bit of sugar that will go into the beer. If you're going to bottle your beer, you want to add this just before you bottle to carbonate the beer in the bottles. Okay, if you're going to keg your beer, you wouldn't need this. So we have all that. I've got a kettle here because I'm going to be using it a little bit later. I have a timer and I have a digital thermometer. So we've got all that on hand. The first thing we have to do, and I just want to show you, I've got a, excuse me, this is a very cheap stock pot, okay? It's all I've got. This is about a 3-gallon pot. You can use it. I'm going to do a 2.5-gallon boil. I'm going to change the procedures a slight bit just to accommodate for that, and I'll explain that as we go along. This is not complicated, okay? Just follow me. What I've done is I've got this aluminum or stainless steel sort of thing that I got out of one of my pressure cookers. It's a thin bottom pot. It's an electric stove, so it's very easy to scorch, maybe even melt the bag. So I don't want that. It could be a disaster. So I'm going to take the, as an extra step and put this in the bottom. I suppose you could use a pie plate or a plate. I don't know. I'm using this because it's made for that. Just put that down the bottom there. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to fill this pot up to probably about here with cold water. Okay? And then we're going to proceed on to the first step, which is to steep the grains. See you in a bit. Okay, we are ready to go. What I've done is I've got myself a just a plate here. You can use a bowl, whatever. Get your grains, a pair of scissors. Just cut this like so. Oh, if you could smell this, and if you're an all-grain brewer or a partial brewer, you know what I'm talking about. It's an amazing smell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my grain bag here, and I'm just going to put it over the top of the bag of grains, and hope to God that we don't spill it. That's why I've got a plate here. And in they go. Okay, so I'm getting some spillage. Hang on. No, I'm not. It's fine. We're good. In they go. Come on. Out you get. There we are. Now, I'm going to just tighten up the drawstring here and just tie it in a bow, because this is a reusable bag. So I'm going to want to be able to untie it and keep it. So there, now I've probably got some stuff down in the burner there. Grab our water. So like I said, I've got it filled up to about there. It's going to go up a little bit when we put the grains in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my burner. I'm going to put it on sort of medium high. Probably have to turn it up to high. And in go the grains. Now, you can already see the water changing color. So what I'm trying to do here is there's different ways of doing this, okay? You can spread out, you can hang the grains if you put a spoon on top like this, and you can basically tie the grain bag to the spoon and hang them in the pot. All right, this is kind of a smaller pot though, so I don't think I can do that. That's why I've got that thing in the bottom, so I don't burn the grains to the bottom of the pan. But I'm just trying to spread them out so that they get better utilized. That's it. Okay, and what we're gonna do, I'm sorry about my back. My kitchen is the way it's oriented. I'm gonna grab my thermometer. Just gonna tie this on here. This is a digital thermometer that I'm going to use to keep track of the temperature, because we have to reach a temperature of 170 degrees, no higher, okay? So that's what we want to keep track of. It's going to take some time. I've actually got my heat up on high. So this is a 30-minute procedure. So I'm going to take my timer, set it to 30 minutes. Now the instructions to this kit say to start off with cold water like this, put the grains in, raise it to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, and for 30 minutes. So 30 minutes starts now. I've got my timer set for 30 minutes. And it says if it reaches 170 before the 30-minute mark, turn down or off the heat and just keep it from going above 170. So that's what I'm going to do for the next half hour. Okay, so we're about 7 minutes into this steeping process, and the temperature's at 117. So it's getting up there fairly quick. You can already see, I mean, the color of this is incredible. Okay, so we're at the 20 minutes left in this steeping process. So we've been doing this for 10 minutes, and we're at 138 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, 160 Fahrenheit. So now I'm going to keep a real close eye. I'm 162. I'm actually going to start turning down the heat now and controlling this temperature. Okay, so I've got my heat set now, where basically the temperature, depending on where I put the thermometer probe, is sort of toggling between 169 and 171. So this is perfect. We're going to leave it here for the remainder of the steep. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes left in the steep, and I've turned the heat off. It's at 169, which is fine. And this is just enough time for me to run downstairs and grab myself another home brew. Okay, we're at the 30-minute mark. Everything just beeped on me. So we're ready to take these things out. So we'll just wrap it in these things and hope for the best. There we go. Now, we're not going to use the bowl yet. We're going to let these things drain off as much as we can. What I'll then do is just take the grains and I'll place them in a clean bowl. We don't want to squeeze them or anything like that, okay? And I'll just place them here. I'll sit them here and just let them sit there. And when, in a few minutes, I'll take what's left in that bowl and I'll add it to this. The next step now is to bring this to the boil. I'm going to take out that metal thing that I added in here for to stop it scorching. Okay. That out of there. It's hot. Okay. And we're going to turn this on. I'm going to turn it on to sort of a medium high. Again, I don't want to caramelize this on the bottom, so I'm going to put it on a medium high, and we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to add our hops. Because I'm doing this in kind of a smaller batch, like normally you would want to do the 5 gallon or at least a 3 gallon, 3.5 to 4. I'm doing a smaller batch. So what I'm going to do, and this is recommended to me by J.L. Malone 3113 as well, just as a suggestion, to not add this malt extract at the beginning of the boil, but to maybe add it a little later on. And here's why. Because I have a smaller boil, less water, if I want to make sure that my hops are utilized as best as possible. Okay, so the more saturated this solution is, the less these are going to be able to let out their flavors and do what they do. So I'm going to take his advice and add the malt extract later on after these have had a chance to boil off, okay, and let out their bitterness, their flavors, and whatnot. Okay, we are reaching 205 degrees. I'm going to take the thermometer out. And this is where you really got to watch. You really got to watch this now. Have your spray bottle ready and have yourself ready to take it off the heat as well, because this hot break, this boil is going to happen. It's going to go all crazy and nuts here, and we've got to get things adjusted so that we can keep it a nice rolling boil. So this is the part that I even had a little trouble turning my head to switch on all the cameras and things, okay? Because you can't keep your eyes off this. It can go real quick. And here it's starting to roll now. And I'm ready. So once we've got this settled and stabilized, it looks like we're going to be okay. So here goes the hops. Now this can go. We got to get ready here with this. There we are. Okay. And here's the other addition. Just make sure we've got it all there. Yep. Oh, you know, the smells in this kitchen right now are unbelievable. Smells really nice. I'm going to start my timer. I'm not trying to take my eyes off that thing. 60 minutes. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to sit here and drink a couple home brews and keep this thing in a nice boil like this. They say don't cover it because there's some things that are going to escape from this that you don't want to be stuck in there. So that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to keep an eye. See, we've reached we're fine now. We can just keep an eye on this and let it boil. At about the 40-minute mark, and 40 minutes into the boil, I'm going to add my malt extract and my clearing agent at that point, and then we're ready to move to the next step, which is to cool it down, get it into the fermenter, add some water to it, pitch the yeast, and we've got some nice beer on the way. I'll keep you posted. See you in a bit. we are at the, let me just check the time here, 24:44. We're at the 24, we've got 24 minutes left in the boil. What I'm gonna now do is add I've got a kettle boiling here, just unplug that, because I'm gonna rehydrate my yeast in a minute. And we're gonna add this. So what I'm gonna do is turn off the burner, okay? And because it's an electric stove, I might actually just remove it from the burner, or just wait a minute until that burner cools down. And we're gonna cut the top off of this malt extract. It looks like it's a Ziploc thing, I don't know. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the pot off of the stove, because I have an electric stove. Burner doesn't turn off right away. And now we're gonna add this malt extract. That way it doesn't burn or scorch on the bottom of the pan. Okay, while we're adding it here. Something tells me this is gonna take a little while. Okay, that probably would have been easier if I had heated up that sack of malt extract. I never even thought of that, actually. Normally when you do it from the can, you do that. You heat it up, but I just forgot. Didn't say in the instructions. But anyway, we got it in here. Now we're gonna put the heat back on. We've got some wort dripping down from my fan hood here from the steam. But we're gonna put this back on now. We've stirred it in, got it all off the bottom. We're gonna bring it back to the boil. And we're gonna add about 5 minutes to the total boil time, just to make up for that. I don't know if that's necessary, but we'll just play this by ear. See how long it takes it to come back up to the boil again. Okay, as I was bringing this back up to the boil, I kept stirring it to stop it from possibly caramelizing on the bottom. I've switched to a metal spoon. Didn't really feel comfortable with the plastic in here for that long. So we're bringing it back up. Okay, and now that it's rolling, we shouldn't have a problem with it scorching on the bottom because it's moving around nice. And we're just gonna keep an eye on it just for a second. And what I'm thinking about doing now is adding we're at the point now where we wanna add our clearing tablet, which is a Whirlfloc or Irish moss, whichever you choose to use. Take the thermometer out of there. And in the meantime, I've boiled some water and put it in we're gonna set the timer here for another 15 minutes. Okay, whoops, that's what you gotta watch. You turn your head for 1 second. Okay, so you can see that we've gotten out of the woods here. We're no longer boiling over. And I'm just gonna let this go for another 15 minutes. In the meantime, I've got some boiled water in here that's cooling off, and I'm gonna rehydrate my yeast in this. It recommends to do that, and that's gonna be happening while this is chilling down. Okay, so my timing was a tiny bit off here. I've got some about 4 ounces of water in here in this measuring cup covered up, and I'm waiting for it to get down to about 88 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit so that I can rehydrate my yeast. The wort is already boiled. The alarm just went off. I turned off the heat. I'm getting ready to take that downstairs and put it in a sink full of ice water to get that cooled down real quick. Right into a sink. I'm gonna fill that up with some cold water. And I've got some ice cube things here. These aren't actually ice cubes, they're plastic frozen things. Dump those into that sink there to help cool this off. Okay. In the meantime, I've got my yeast rehydrating. I don't know if you can see this right there. It's been going for about 10 minutes. And this, pretty much by the time this is cooled off, we'll have our yeast ready to go, ready to pitch. Put it in the fermenter, add the cold water. Okay, my wort is down to 122, even lower than I would want it to be. But I'm gonna now pour it into my fermenter. Just put that airlock here into the sanitizer. Take off the tin foil. Into the fermenter. Pour it nice and high. A lot of oxygen in there. Oh yeah. There you go. A lot of sludge in there. I don't know whether I should have probably avoided that. I'm not sure. But, well, we'll see. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move this up to where we're going to actually be doing the fermentation. Okay. Now, we can add our cold water. Let's get these things out of the way. And I'm pretty confident that with the temperature I've got here, and adding the cold water I've got coming out of my tap, I'm going to get down to an acceptable temperature. So I'm not too worried about it. Cross my fingers. So here we are, filling it up. Trying to aerate it a little bit by filling it from high up. Get some oxygen in there. What I'm going to do now is take another temperature reading. And see where we're at. There, we went to 75. So, you know, it'll get down to 70 in about 2 or 3 hours. I'm going to go ahead and pitch my yeast. It smells nice. I'm keeping it above my face so I don't breathe into it. And I'm going to add this to my wort. And there we go. It says on the instructions to agitate or rock the fermenter, shake, whatever. I think we're just going to give it a light stir. Okay. Here we are. Snap that baby on. The airlock up here, and there we go. I did take a hydrometer sample. It still has some foam on top. Just waiting for that to die down, and I'll tell you what this original gravity reading is. Just going to check my seal. 1.050. There we go. I'm not going to put this back in. Wow, it tastes really good. There's no alcohol in it, but boy, it tastes really good. There's a lot of stuff in the bottom here settled out already just in the 5 minutes I had this sitting here. So I'm sure we're gonna have lots of trub in the bottom of that thing. But I'm excited. Okay, so take care. Thanks for sticking around. See ya.